Hello and welcome back to another week in new genre books. Thanks for stopping by. We're always glad to have you here. My name is Amelia, and from Locus magazine, I'm about to tell you the top new science fiction, fantasy, and horror books being published the week of April 25th, 2023. These are still warm off the press and waiting for you to discover. We cover science fiction, fantasy, and horror and related genre books, like all the fun stuff, and we're here to tell you about it. I've got links for timing if you want to skip to your favorite category. This video is a creation of Locus magazine. I'm going to ask you to like and subscribe. We need you to press a little button or two so we can keep this project going. So close to 1,000 subscribers. Starting with science fiction books this week, we have 5 science fiction titles. From award-winning author Cory Doctorow, we saw Red Team Blues out from Tor in hardcover, trade paperback, and ebook. This cyberpunk noir thriller novel from a New York Times bestselling author is a grabby, near-future, like next Tuesday, kind of story about cryptocurrency shenanigans that will awaken you to how the world really works through the eyes of Doctorow, who works for the Electronic Frontier Foundation, is an MIT Media Lab research affiliate, and a super smart guy who pays attention to this stuff, and he's a Locus magazine columnist. From another bestseller, TJ Klune, we saw In the Lives of Puppets out from Tor in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a queer, dystopian science fiction novel. In a strange little home built into the branches of a grove of trees live 3 robots. Fatherly inventor android Giovanni Lawson, a pleasantly sadistic nurse machine, and a small vacuum desperate for love and attention. Victor Lawson, a human, lives there too. They're a family, hidden and safe. From Ian Douglas, we saw Alien Agendas out from Harper Voyager US in trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a military science fiction novel with reptilian aliens, Nazis in space, time-traveling humans, kidnapped girlfriends, and government psychics. This is the finale to Douglas's action-packed military sci-fi Solar Warden adventure series. From Matthew J. Kirby, we saw Star Splitter out from Dutton in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This young adult science fiction mystery novel is set in the year 2199, where deep space exploration is a reality and teleportation is routine. Something goes wrong, and 17-year-old Jessica Mathers wakes up in a lander that's crashed on the surface of Carver 1061c, a desolate, post-extinction planet 14 light-years from Earth, instead of viewing the planet from a ship in orbit. From John Patrick, we saw Time Bomb out from Queer Space in trade paperback and ebook. This is a science fiction time travel novel with elements of queer romance inspired by the Bhagavad Gita, about an effort to save the world from global warming by stopping the Los Alamos atomic bomb project. Next up, horror, we have 3 titles in horror this week. From Nicholas Binge, we saw Ascension out from Riverhead in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a science fiction cosmic horror novel, a mind-bending speculative thriller in which the sudden appearance of a mountain in the middle of the Pacific Ocean leads a group of scientists to a series of jaw-dropping revelations that challenge the notion of what it means to be human. From Jeremy C. Shipp, we saw The Merry Dredgers out from Meerkat Press in trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a weird horror novel with touches of wry humor. In it, Serafina, investigating why her sister is in a coma, infiltrates a cult living in a once-abandoned amusement park. From Michael Ferris Smith, we saw Salvage This World out from Little Brown in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a literary science fiction / horror novel set in the same world as Desperation Road, about a young mother on the run with her toddler, her ghost-ridden father forced to take them to a storm-ravaged south where a religious cult leader needs a girl to give him the key to the apocalyptic future. Next up, fantasy, we are covering 4 titles this week. From Brent Weeks, we saw Night Angel Nemesis out from Orbit US in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a fantasy novel. You may remember him from his best-selling Lightbringer series. This book starts a new series in the same universe, a return to the world of the Night Angel, where master assassin Kyler Stern embarks on a new adventure as the High King Logan Gyre calls on him to save his kingdom and the hope of peace. From Kat Howard, we saw A Sleight of Shadows out from Saga Press in hardcover, ebook, and audio. In this fantasy novel, after taking down the source of the corruption of the unseen world, Sydney is left with almost no magical ability. Once one of the world's most dangerous magicians, and feeling estranged from herself, she is determined to find a way back to her previous status. But she needs to do this quickly. The House of Shadows, the hell on earth that shaped her into who she was, the place she sacrificed everything to destroy, is rebuilding itself. From Stephen Brust, we saw Tsalmoth out from Tor in hardcover, trade paperback, and ebook. In this fantasy novel, 16th in the Vlad Taltos series, first comes love, then comes marriage. You know how it goes. Vlad Taltos is in love with a former assassin who may just be better than he is at the game. From Stephen Deas, we saw Herald of the Black Moon out from Angry Robot UK in trade paperback and ebook. This fantasy novel is the third book in the Black Moon trilogy following protagonists Seth, Mila, and Fings as they commit petty crimes and try their hardest to avoid world-ending destruction. Destruction that they may or may not have started. Lastly, we have a series of collections. We have 4 titles this week. From Catherine Ambalente, we saw The Best of Catherine M. Valente, Volume 1, out from Subterranean Press in hardcover. The first comprehensive collection of Valente's short fiction soaring through 18 years of storytelling. Among her award-winning stories, you'll find stories from Melancholy Robot Girls to Eurydice and Orpheus, from detectives in purgatory to time-traveling squirrels to a very different Santa Claus, from the gray coast of Washington to Alice's Wonderland. Valente's work is sumptuous and complex, with rich language and an open, beating heart. From James Tiptree Jr., we saw The Voice That Murmurs in the Darkness, out from Subterranean Press in hardcover. This is a collection of 13 stories and 1 essay from 1968 to 1987, most selected from a list made by the author of The Cream of Tiptree, with an introduction by Karen Joy Fowler. Tiptree is a pen name for Alice Sheldon. This is a limited edition of 1,000. Do you know about Tiptree? If you don't, there is a deep well of interesting SF history there, if that's your jam. From Greg Egan, we saw Sleep and the Soul, self-published in trade paperback, hardcover, and ebook. This is a collection of 10 stories from the last 4 years from Hugo Award-winning author Greg Egan, who specializes in hard science fiction stories with mathematical and quantum ontology themes, including the nature of consciousness, genetics, simulated reality, post-humanism, mind transfer, sexuality, artificial intelligence, and the superiority of rational naturalism over religion. And he can write a good story! From Keenan Orhan, we saw I Am My Country and other stories out from Random House in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a collection of stories set in Turkey about ordinary people who confront the absurd. Talking animals, flying houses, omniscient prayer callers, talking to birds. That wraps up this week. Thanks for spending some time with us. At Locus, we want to tell you everything relevant that's happening in the science fiction, fantasy, horror publishing space. We appreciate your eyes and ears and your likes and subscribes. Please do subscribe and turn notifications on so you know about this video when it goes up every week. The magazine and the YouTube channel are a labor of love. We are at Locus Mag or at Locus Magazine on most platforms. You can read more about the science fiction, fantasy, and horror field over at www.locusmag.com or support us on our Patreon. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. Come back and see us again soon, and we'll be here next week with more new books.